Welcome, everybody, to the first playoff edition of the Blue Jay Center podcast, brought to you by the Sick Podcast Network. You know what, boys? ALDS today, game one. Jimmy, let's get this thing started, bud.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to the Sick Podcast. Blue Jays Center.
Bautista drives it deep left field. Gone!
The sickest Toronto Blue Jays podcast. It's gonna be sick.
Fellas, I thought about it today because I know, Cole, you've been talking about you've been pacing left and right all morning. It's a Saturday freaking morning. I get up at 5 a.m. every day. I was up at 7:30 on a freaking Saturday, and I don't care. I really don't. Because, buddy, it is ALDS game day. Jays, Yankees, game one of 408 at Rogers Center. I mean, yes. And guess what, fellas? People, you can hear all over social media, oh, the Jays haven't won a playoff game. Hey, sweetheart, they haven't won a wild card game. Guess what? They lose one of you ain't there. So, hey.
Yeah, the last two times we've been in this position, we've won this series.
Correct.
Yeah, second 15 and 16, the glory years, and we're going to talk about it all. Game one today in about 5 hours' time. First pitch at Rogers Center. Boys, I know you guys will be at the ballpark. Cole, what's the vibe like, bud?
Just absolutely antsy. I have been up since 10 a.m. and just pacing. I was like, I'll get up at 10 and I'll do some research for the pod. Didn't need it. I just kept pacing. Just kept pacing. I literally can't explain to this in words, but the fact that we have Jays Yankees ALDS in our building is still something that feels surreal from where we were a year ago. Mm-hmm. And the fact that the Jays and Yankees have never played a playoff series makes it all that much more exciting.
I concur everything you just said. I mean, how could you not want to be in this position right now? Back in March and February, we prayed that the Blue Jays would be fortunate enough to be playing these games right now. And obviously right now we're all feeling a little bit antsy, and rightfully so. I think that's just natural. But this is a privilege, man. It's a privilege to be here, and us. I know me and Cole going to the game, but all of us are covering these games. This is why we fan.
Exactly.
This is why we're a fan of the Jays. We're a fan of sports. We want to hope, and I think that there's a big reason why this feels so much different than all the other times, the last few years, I should say, is because it feels like there generally is a sense of hope. Unlike the last couple of years where, chip in a chair, anything can happen in the playoffs. But right now, it really does feel like the Blue Jays having home field advantage throughout the rest of the American League playoffs. And in this series, they're open as a slight underdog. But for the most part, they're very much no one would be surprised if the Jays went on to beat the Yankees like they had done all year. I think that this is unbelievable. This is what we prayed would happen. Last year, we were unsure if we would ever get this in the Vlad and Bo era again, considering how it went and the fact that it's here and the Blue Jays have an enormously positive opportunity on their fingertips. I think you have no choice but to be super excited like we all seem to be right now as we kick off this podcast.
I'm going to shout out Keegan Matheson, obviously a friend of Blue Jays Center. Yep. He wrote an article yesterday on Kevin Gausman, obviously being the game one starter. Sure. And he started off that article by saying, 4 years ago, Kevin Gausman was, breaking rules at a wellness retreat because he kept checking his cell phone because he had just hit free agency. Yeah. And the reason why this was reminded to me is because Rob said a year ago we didn't know if Vlad and Bo would still be on this team at this time today. And we didn't know if we were going to be in a position where we could win the division with this team today. And the fact that we didn't know we were going to match up in an ALDS against the New York fucking Yankees a year ago today. So his article reminded me of that. And the cool story, if you haven't heard it, is Kevin Gausman left the wellness retreat, got on a plane, and at that time, he knew he was going to the New York Mets. It came down to the Mets and the Jays. Yep. When he got off the plane, the agent basically said otherwise, and his phone blew up, and he was going to Toronto to take his talents here. And 4 years later, he is the rightful consensus, without a doubt, game one starter for the Blue Jays in the ALDS.
Beautiful, boys. It's absolutely beautiful. I know you said you guys are going to be at the ballpark. I'll be there I'm going to be quiet here because I haven't given her the tickets yet, but I'll be there with my mom tomorrow. Birthday today, so it's like playoff game day birthday. Isn't that something else?
Awesome stuff.
Go.
But anyways, yeah, so I don't know, boys. I'm itching. The amount of the amount of media content that I have consumed over the last like 4 or 5 days is just bananas. But let's be honest, fellas. You guys, obviously, hardcore ball guys. We all are. Regardless of it being a Jays thing or not, this is the series that baseball wanted.
Yep.
Like, let's be honest. Red Sox Jays, fine. No, Yankees Jays, you mean the teams that have been battling since day one?
Yeah.
The teams that had an identical record right at the end of the day at game 162? These were the teams that were supposed to face each other in the ALDS, and they are. So
outside of Berto, this was basically the consensus Jays want. The Jays fandom wanted this series for whatever reason, whether Berto agrees with them or not. I wanted the Yankees, and I didn't think that they were going to get here because I don't believe in the Yankees, but I wanted the Yankees for the 2 reasons. One, I don't trust them, and I'm not scared of them. And then the final reason is it's New York Yankees. If I want to send anybody home in the ALDS, it's them.
That was for sure. That was the big thing for me. I was like, who would you rather beat? And I'm like, I mean, hands down, no question about it. Get the Bronx Bombers packing. But it's going to be tough, fellas. It's going to be one hell of a series, man. I cannot wait. All right, let's get to it. Yeah. So one of the big topics that's been talked about over the past, I guess, month now, is the health of Bo Bichette. Now, I want to touch on that first just because we kind of know what's going on now. Obviously, the quote from Vladdy, I think Keegan tweeted that out a couple of days ago when he talked to Vladdy on the field. It's the quote. We miss him. He knows we miss him. This is God's plan. Whatever God has for us, we've got to take. I hope we win this series and he comes back for the next one. So, yes, the rosters haven't fully been released as of right now.
Yeah, they have. Yeah, they have.
It was officially dropped. Okay, I'm assuming he's off the roster anyway.
Yeah, Bo Bichette's off the roster. Max Scherzer's off the roster. Chris Bassett's off the roster.
And that's an interesting one.
Which confirms you're going to do a bullpen game if you get to game 4. Yeah. But back on the Bo Bichette thing, it is official. He's out for the ALDS. The only way he can come back is if someone on the ALDS roster gets injured and miraculously Bo, is healthy by then, and then the Jays can put him on. But without an injury, anybody left off the rosters cannot be added to the roster later in the series.
And another tidbit of that is that if someone were to leave with an injury, they would be ineligible for the ALCS as well. So I think that's important to point out there.
I think you take someone off the roster, they're done for the next one, right? That's why I think the Jays wanted to play this one safe with Bo. Like, you could probably have him come in and pinch hit but barely run, but God forbid it doesn't work, and he's just really not. You can't take him off the roster because then you can't have him for the CS even if he is ready. So I get it; it makes sense.
This is worst case scenario. I thought that there was a slight but above 0% chance that Bo would be on the roster just for the sake that there's a chance he could be healthy in Game 4 or Game 5 if it got there. And the fact that he is not healthy for that is a concern.
I think it's just so unfortunate. Obviously, we've talked before about the Bo Bichette injury happening at the worst possible time. It was really no coincidence to me that right after Bo Bichette went down, we saw the offense take their worst nosedive really ever since the beginning part of the year. And hopefully the last 4 games of the year, that was a switch was sort of flipped where, maybe they find a way to sort of live without Bo Bichette, at least temporarily. But, it's definitely going to be a big blow to the Blue Jays' chances. Obviously, that guy's most clutch hitter on the roster, probably one of the most clutch hitters in the league, one of the best pure hitters in the league. So not having him in a series where we're going to be underdogs against, that's going to really matter. And I know it's going back so long, but I have no idea how no one is making more that they let him go out and play after that rain delay with a sprained knee. And then they realized after that, okay, it was a day-to-day injury, and 2 days later, never mind, he's going to miss multiple weeks, over a month now. I think that needs to be a little investigated after the end of the year. What went into that decision, because it could really have an adverse effect on the Blue Jays' playoff chances. But so unfortunate. I was holding out some hope, but unfortunately, it kind of seemed like it was trending this direction for a while now.
When you saw him, I think it was a few days ago, doing exercise on the field, and he's got a brace on, and it's like that's. And you haven't started running. You ain't going on the roster. So, Cole, if you have anything you want to say, go for it. But I was just going to rip through the roster so people have an idea who's on the roster. You guys who mentioned who's not, just to give an idea. So this is Shane Bieber, obviously. Justin Brule made the roster.
4 lefties.
Exactly. They just went all kinds of lefties. So Anthony Dominguez, which I think is just going to be very pocket related. I think it's going to be a lot of Aaron Judge, and pray to God he just doesn't walk him, because then it gets real hairy after that. Braden
Fish. Or you walk him. Aaron Judge can't beat you if you walk him.
No, I get that, but then he's got to face lefties.
Yeah,
and then
lefties
no, I know,
definitely
but
be-
I'm saying I think that there's a chance that Seranthony Dominguez is even more like an extra pocket usage only because, in my opinion, you do not let Aaron Judge beat you. So
no.
If Sir Anthony Dominguez is not going to face Aaron Judge, then bring in a lefty. We'll just walk Aaron Judge and then face the lefties after him.
exactly,
Yeah,
and yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so Braden Fisher's obviously on the roster, and our boy Mason Fluharty gonna get big moment, big outs as per usual.
You got to strike out Aaron Judge with the bases loaded to close the game out
yes.
too.
Yes. The only person I want facing Aaron Judge is Mason Fluharty.
Yeah, let him play Jazz too, because I feel like he just get all pissy because the umpire would make a call. I don't know.
A correct call. He'd get pissed if
of
the
course.
umpire made a correct call.
He also sucks against lefties, so that would be
absolutely. Absolutely. That's why they added some, like you mentioned, 4 lefties. Obviously, Kevin Gausman, Jeff Hoffman, Eric Lauer, Brendan Little, the boy Tommy Nance. I mean, what a story. Yariel Rodriguez, Louis Varland, and of course the young fella Trey Savage. That rounds out the arms. Catching, I think we all get it. Hyman Kirk. Infielders, Barger, Ernie, Jimenez, Vlad, and IKF. And in the outfield, Nathan Lucas, Anthony Santander, Davis Schneider, George Springer, Miles Straw, and Dalton Varsho rounds out the ALDS roster for your Blue Jays. Anything surprise you guys? I mean, like Chris Bass, I know we talked about like road start, kind of, we were all like, you keep him away from that, but keeping him off the roster in its entirety, are you guys shocked at all about that? I mean, Max Scherzer we kind of saw coming, but because since he threw 70 pitches in that inter squad game, are you kind of shocked about Bassett or no?
Not really. In all honesty, I think that I was trending towards, like, if I was in charge, I would have had the same thing, a bullpen day as well. I think that the one thing that you could kind of sort of quibble with is now all of a sudden in the bullpen, you no longer have a guy who can go out there and give you multiple innings, like in terms of a guy who can just go out there and give you 4 or 5 innings. Lauer could theoretically be that guy, but I think
Varland.
But I think Eric Lauer now, with this move, he's essentially a quasi-starter. For Game 4, he's going to be the guy who's going to pitch. So I don't think you can use him in Game 3 or Game 2 or whatever to eat bulk innings. I think that's a little surprising. But I didn't think Chris Bassett and either Bassett and Scherzer had a lot of value in this series. I think that both of them really struggle against lefties. I think that both of them wouldn't have given you a good chance against this New York Yankees team. Not that I think that this bullpen game really gives you a great chance. I think that no matter what you're going to throw out there, you're going to be a major underdog in Game 4, assuming that's the game that it's going to happen in. But yeah, no, Chris Bassett I think he has an OPS close to 850 against lefties. I think we all know the road struggles, although that part of it has been a little bit alleviated. He's been a little bit better on the road lately, but no, I think that both of them are bad matchups. I think that both of them get barreled quite a bit. I think that, Jose Barrios is obviously on the IL, but he's in that category as well. I think that a big reason why I didn't want to play the Yankees is for this reason. Half of your rotation becomes unplayable against this Yankees team that mashes right-handed pitchers who don't have good stuff. And all 3 of those guys fall in that category, and now all of a sudden you have to get cute.
Yeah, I didn't love it, but I wasn't surprised. In fact, the Bichette thing was the most surprising. I thought that he was going to make the roster just as a just in case at the end of the season or at the end of the series, like I said. So I wasn't surprised by any of these moves. I'm obviously worried about a bullpen game.
Yeah. How could you not be?
and like, is there any chance it's not in Game 4? Like, that's where my mind goes. Like, are we 100% certain that is going to be Game 4?
Yeah, because I think you have to guarantee Shane Bieber gets a start. Shane Bieber or Trey Savage.
Shane Bieber and Trey, yeah.
You have to guarantee those 3 guys starts.
Yeah. So, I thought that Chris Bassett at the very minimum, like, even I thought what was going to happen is we wouldn't know about whether or not they were going to go a bullpen game until we got to Game 4. Yeah. Like, I thought that there was going to be a chance that Chris Bassett makes the roster, but simply as a worst case scenario, we'll make him start Game 4 if we don't have the arms in the pen to be able to handle a bullpen game. Right. That's what I thought. I thought that Chris Bassett would make it, or even Chris Bassett would come out in the pen. So that's the only thing that surprised me. I knew Max Scherzer wasn't going to make it. And we've seen it in recent years. I'm not going to bring up the names because I don't have the memory to be able to do that. But we've seen Hall of Fame or, borderline Hall of Fame pitchers in recent years not make playoff rosters because at that year they're not good enough to be on the playoff roster. And
Mark Burley.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of fans are always surprised by that. Like they just think that like you have to give the Hall of Famer a playoff roster spot, and the Jays. I thought that there was a chance they would have given Max Scherzer that because it's the Toronto Blue Jays and not like a elite organization like the LA Dodgers who can just say what they want, or the Red Sox or the Yankees. I was actually a little surprised, I guess, that the Jays were had the nuts, I should say, to leave Max Scherzer off the roster, but I think that Max Scherzer was also a part of that decision. Like they went to Max Scherzer and said, "Hey, man, like you cool with just being a bench guy?" And he's like, "Yeah, of course. Like let's." Yeah,
it's not about being cool. I mean, Max, you shouldn't have had an ERA of 9 last month. You know what I mean? You would have made the decision a lot easier on yourself.
I know. Max Scherzer and Chris Bassett both strike me as the guys that are ultimate teammates. That's more what I was saying.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, he's also won the World Series. He's 41 years old. It's not like he's trying to like get another big time paycheck or something. But you mentioned Birdie. You mentioned his last couple. I mean, you say his month start. I'm gonna go for his last 2. Like in games where you needed this team to get wins, 5 innings, 10 hits. 4 runs, no good. We have some of that KC start where he got 2 outs, and it was over by the first out, and the game was long over by then. So you just can't have him on the playoff roster if he's just not going to utilize it all, and that's why obviously you saw all the lefties because of the matchup, and that's what you got to play in the ALDS, in the CS, in the World Series. You got to play matchups. If it doesn't work, then sorry, bud, you just don't work.
But one of the Yankees lefties, and this really throws
Bellinger?
a wrench in things. Bellinger, really throws a wrench in things because you can't platoon him, and he's just been absolutely elite against lefties this year, and that top of the lineup for the Yankees is just hard to get through, obviously. And I mean, that's maybe the most obvious statement I say on this podcast, but like when you have a lefty that you can't match up against, and he is also one of your best hitters, obviously that's an issue. Like Aaron Judge, Cody Bellinger, Jazz Chisholm, and Giancarlo Stanton in that top 4 is a ridiculous tall task to get through.
It's even funnier. You didn't mention the guy Trent Grisham, who 34 bombs this year all the time. Like, where the hell did this guy get from? I mean, he's been outstanding, but is he the leadoff guy now? I mean, he was for a long period of time. That's the leadoff guy, and then all the dudes that Cole just named. That's why the lineup is so scary.
They go back and forth.
Alberto picked. He wanted to face the Red Sox over the Yankees because you saw this lineup and how deep it is.
I'm surprised I was one of the few. I
mean, look. That's why we talked about flipping a coin, because there's dangers anywhere you look from each team. Right, Red Sox lineup. You'd rather face the Red Sox over the Yankee lineup over the Yankees. However, facing Crochet in that new fight, we're not going to talk about it again. Obviously we know who we're playing, and starters wise, we know who we're facing at least in the first 2 games. Aaron Boone is.
I'd say the first 4. We know
probably. I can't see why they would go away from it. You're going to get Luis Heel today because you're going to have to. And let's be honest, fellas. I mean, I hate saying this in a playoff game. It's kind of a must-win game, right?
I'm with you.
Also, one of the most obvious statements we're going to say on this podcast.
I feel stupid saying it in the game 1.
No, but I get it. I get it.
Have to.
Yeah, Kevin Gausman versus their 4th starter. You have to win that game. Yes,
absolutely. You got Max Fried tomorrow, Rodon in Game 3 at Yankee Stadium, and then obviously Game 4 is going to be Cam Schlittler, and assuming Game 5 is going to flip back to Max Fried with the days off in Toronto if it gets to that point. So. No soft spots. That's why you got to win this game. This is their 4th starter for a reason.
But at the same time, though, you do feel pretty confident in the Blue Jays' chances against all these starters. I mean,
all of them,
Max Fried and Carlos Rodon, they're very good pitchers, but at the same time, there is a track record of the Blue Jays kind of doing what they've done against many starters all season long, forcing them, putting a lot of pressure on their pitch count, getting them out of the game early, utilizing a bad Yankees defense behind them against them. So the thing is that, today is a must-win for sure. It would have been a must-win if we played the Red Sox, but it would have been a must-win then because you have Garrett Crochet the next day. Now
that's a scheduled loss.
Now at the same time you definitely want to win today. Obviously, if you win today, that's you game you should win. You're going to be favored today. It's probably the only game you're going to be favored in all series.
Yeah, and you are favored today. Yeah,
exactly. So it's a big win. But all of a sudden, even if somehow you don't win, I think that you shouldn't lose hope for tomorrow either, because I do think the Jays have a track record of getting to Max Fried as well. So. It's a must-win in that regard, but at the same time, the sky won't be falling regardless of what happens today. We got to keep that in perspective.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Please win, Please win,
Aaron Judge actually addressed it. The Jays are a complete team, he said. They put the ball in play, and, we're going to have to be prepared for that. And Aaron Judge is one of the guys that needs to be prepared for that. That guy has definitely shown some injury signs over the last month with that arm, and he's going to be playing in the outfield because you can't start Stanton in the field. So we have to utilize Aaron Judge on the base paths 100%. And then if we put the ball in play against these guys the same way we've done all year, then we're going to have success. So that's what I'm looking forward to. Guess what our record was against the Yankees in our building this year?
I can tell you right now what it was. 6-1. 6-1. 6-1. Yeah.
6-1, which obviously means that your record in Yankee Stadium was 2-4. But still,
here's the thing: you technically don't have to win a game at Yankee Stadium to win the series.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have to win. They obviously, and they have to win a game in our building too to win the series. So,
I said technically, no, you don't have to. Yeah, if you just win your home, it's not even technically. If you just win your home games, you're good.
Yeah, exactly. Do we think that had we gotten the full month of September Bichette, that we'd be favored in this series?
I don't think so. I think that even with Bichette,
because then the division wouldn't have been theoretically the division wouldn't have come down to the last week. It would have been wrapped up. Bichette would have had his year. I
think there's two big things at play. I think one is an inherent Yankees bias, and obviously that's going to play a role in it. Mm-hmm. And I think the other one is the style of play. It's the Yankees style of play. As much as we can quibble and dissect it, I think that factually, their style of play in terms of hitting a lot of home runs, despite the fact that their pitching and their bullpen's a little questionable, that typically tends to translate to October a lot more cleanly than the Blue Jays style of play. Mm-hmm. That being said, 5-game series, anything can happen. So we'll talk about. I want to talk about specifics later, but I think that the Yankees probably would have been favorites. No, it wouldn't have been as. I mean, they're not major favorites now. They're what? The Jays are what, plus 130, I think.
I would assume,
the Yankees are. I think the Yankees are minus 130. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. So that's what, a 55% win probability.
Yeah. Something like that.
So it's it's essentially a little bit more than a coin flip. Their probabilities. Yeah. A little bit more.
I want to touch on the starters, and I know we mentioned earlier about how the Jays have done well against these guys.
Yeah.
Max Fried. I mean, his last start was one of his best against us, where he went 7 innings of 3-run ball, which is great. It's not spectacular, and we all know his 2 starts prior to that where we teed off on him like it was BP.
Yeah. But even 7 innings of 3-run ball, you can win that game.
Here's the thing too.
You should.
This is where I go back into the depths and the peripheries of my memory. In that game, it was the 4th inning, I believe. I want to say it was the 4th inning. The Jays had 3 runs. They had runners on 3rd and 2nd and nobody out, and I don't think they got to hit the rest of the game against them. So I
believe it was 2nd and 3rd, nobody out with Vlad at the dish too.
No. So Vlad got the double, and then it was.
That's right.
Vlad hit the double. That was actually the second last extra base hit Vlad's hit all season. That double. He hit 1 against KC, and that was it.
But so now going to Carlos Rodon, and he's an interesting one because the Jays haven't teed off on him like they did a couple times against Max Fried. However, they have grinded Rodon down every time. He's had 2 starts against the Jays this season. He's gone 5 innings in both. Yep. And I just, as you guys were talking, I was looking all this stuff up. In the first start, I believe at the end of June, he went 5 innings allowed. It was 2 runs, but he threw 96 pitches through 5.
Yep.
And then the next start, which is where I think that's probably when David Schneider had the 14 pitch at bat. It was one of those games.
Correct. Yeah.
He went 5 innings, allowed 4 runs. Now only 2 was earned. Why? Because the Yankees defense. But he threw 107 pitches through 5.
Yeah. No, that's the thing.
Grind them down.
Yeah, that's the other thing with this and why this matchup I particularly like for the Jays is because if we're going to get the starters out in the 5th inning, we're winning this series.
Yep.
These starters have to get to the 6th inning, in my opinion, every single game for the Yankees to win this series because that bullpen is shot.
And I know Yankee fans are all horned up right now because of Cam Schlittler, and rightfully so. I mean, my God, he diced up the Red Sox. But his 2 starts his 2 starts against the Blue Jays, right? Yep. His first one was obviously his big league debut, so it's hard to kind of get an idea. But 5 innings of 2-run ball, walked 3, struck out 3, threw 90 pitches through 5. The Jays, again, they fought him, they grinded him down a little bit. And speaking of grinding him down, we all know how his next start went against the Jays. That was the first game of that Yankee series in the Bronx, where he went an inning and 2/3, allowed 5 hits, 4 runs, walked 2, only struck out 2, and threw 66 pitches through an inning and 2/3.
Here's what I'll say about Cam Schlittler too. I think that when you look at his last start against Boston, it was the fastball was obviously moving. It was touching 101. It was elite, but that was a really fastball-heavy approach to that game against the Red Sox lineup that has been all season long bottom third in the league in terms of hitting against fastballs, whereas the Blue Jays, they're like a top 5 in all offensive categories against fastballs. So I actually think that what we saw from Cam Schlittler on Wednesday or Thursday, while very impressive, I think that the Blue Jays would have a better chance in that approach against them if they were to. Well, they're going to match up at some point this series.
So if I had to give you guys one question, this is a question I got for you. And I'll let you guys answer it because I have my answer. But if you had to tell me one thing, kind of like a key to victory in this series for the Jays to kind of move on to the CS to face either the Tigers or the Mariners, what would it be?
I think it's very. I think we're probably gonna go consensus on this. It's keeping the ball in the yard. I think that's the one.
I'll go a different way, but yeah, fair enough.
Oh yeah, no, that's mine. Prevent the home run ball. You do that, you're winning this series.
Yeah, so that was that's a great point. I wasn't even thinking about that. For me, it's don't beat yourself. Like you don't because the Jays all year long have been like defensively they're locked down, and you know the Yankees are going to give you opportunities. You just
you definitely can't give the Yankees extra.
That's what I'm trying to get at. You give them an extra swing, you give them an extra base with an extra guy on base for anybody in this lineup. Because again, kind of going off of your guys' point, you giving a guy an extra base, you give a guy a walk,
an extra run,
you
give them an extra run.
Yes, you could give up an extra run, and those are
a few extra runs too. Sure. If the inning keeps going, and
absolutely. Yeah. So don't beat yourself. Play clean baseball, and you'll probably win this series.
Here's what I'm thinking, boys, is that I could legitimately see this series going so many different ways. I think that both of these teams do a lot so well, but they both have sort of like very serious flaws that could be exploited in a way. And like I'll tell you what I mean by that is that you look on the surface. Kevin Gausman starting today against Luis Hill. Luis Hill, if his stuff is locating, he's got really nasty stuff and he's hard to hit. If he's not locating and he's walking a ton of guys, you feel great about it. You feel great about getting into their bullpen early and hitting against them. Kevin Gausman, if he looks anything close to what he looked like the last 2 starts against the Yankees, the Jays are going to be in pretty good shape. However, if he looks anything close to what he did in his last start in the big atmosphere, game 162 against Tampa, the Jays are going to be in trouble, right? Shane Bieber, the Yankees haven't seen him all season long. They haven't faced him since, I think, 2023 was the last time. He's really good. You feel good about their chances. At the same time, he is prone to giving up a few barrels. How did you know? You know that obviously could change the trajectory of the game. Trey Savage, he's awesome. The Yankees have never faced him. That figures to be an advantage. It's also a young guy making his first playoff start, and a guy who's pitched 13 innings in the big leagues. Who knows how that's going to go? You have a Yankees rotation that has been great all year, but the Blue Jays have had success against them. It really does feel like you just don't know what's going to happen, and it's such a wide array of options that could happen. Where I think that's really exciting. That's what you want to see.
That's the one scary thing about Bieber for me is the homers. He's allowed 8 home runs in the 9 starts this year, and his last 2 starts. I mean, he's allowed only 2 earned runs in each start. Problem is, all runs home runs. Yeah. Exactly. They've been homers. Every run has been a homer. There's 4 homers in his last 2 starts. Okay, it's fine. It's just, you're lucky that there were no guys on base. It's just a little worrisome.
Yeah. But here's the thing, and this is like a big thing in football, but I think that this Jays team, it is an advantage for. You had a week. You had a week to prepare for this and all of these scenarios, and you got to do it without any other distractions. Unlike the Yankees, who had to play a wild card series and got through 3 games against the Boston Red Sox in their building. So that, I think, for the Jays staff, like when you talk about the Pete Walkers of the world and the David Popkins of the world and the trajectory machine, pitching machine that the Jays have in their clubhouse, all of those things are massive advantages when you give them a week to prepare. So I think that these first 2 games in our building, I actually do feel very good about. Obviously, I'm not saying that we will win both of them. I'm just saying that I feel like we will play clean baseball. I think that we will get to Max Fried, Max Fried and Luis Hill. I think that Kevin Gausman and Shane Bieber will, they might give up a home run. But they're after they get into trouble, I assume they're going to be able to shut it down. Like that's how I think these first 2 games are going to feel like. Obviously, when you get to the bullpens, anything can happen, especially with ours and theirs. So it's it's a crapshoot once the starters are gone. But I do feel good about the Jays playing competitive baseball over these first 2 games. Where in previous playoffs, we haven't always gotten that. It through 9 innings, it didn't feel like the Jays had a chance outside of the Seattle collapse. This is really
the last home playoff game at Rogers Center, by the way.
Yeah. And all of it basically outside of that, felt like we were uncompetitive. We scored one run against Minnesota, I believe, in the 2 games.
Yep.
So yeah, I just think that won't happen this time. And I think that is very it feels like I'm understating it, but I'm trying to make a point that is actually meaningful. Being competitive in playoff games is actually meaningful. So I hope that's the case.
Good thing on paper is that we talk about the home run ball, and that's the key to victory for you guys. It's a hell of a good start to the series. Kevin Gausman hasn't allowed a homer in 4 straight starts, 1 in his last 6.
Yeah.
So, and it was against the Yankees actually.
His barrel rate has shot up to the roof in a good way in terms of it's really been reduced the last second half of the year. I think he was in the 30th percentile. Now he's kind of a little bit closer to league average, so he's been really good. Here's one thing too that I want to say it's important is that on paper you look at the Yankees rotation and you think that's a clear advantage for them if you look at just the stats from the year. But here's one thing that the Jays rotation, if the Jays rotation had all of these things, they probably would have been better throughout the course of the year. If they had second half Kevin Gausman all season long, if they had Shane Bieber and Trey Savage in their rotation all season long, if they didn't have Bowden Francis for half the season, if they didn't have Jose Barrios, Max Scherzer, and Chris Bassett for large parts of the year, perhaps then the Jays rotation would have been a lot better. But guess what? In this series, they'll have all those things that would make you feel a lot better. So I think that when you look at it that way, I think you have good reason to be confident that the Jays rotation could at the very least match up and be competitive against the Yankees rotation, who was also very good, as I've said before.
It looks like the lineup's out.
Let's take a look. Let's break it.
So James, bring that up. And speaking about lineup, that's where I was going anyway. So I did this halfway through the season, I think. I compared the 2015 offensive statistics to the current 2025 offensive statistics, since that's the last time that we won the division. I thought that was a good thing to do again today. And I'm not prefacing by saying you'll be surprised by the 2025 numbers. No, we are obviously a little worse than the 2015 team. That team was one of the best. Yeah, one of the best offensive teams the Jays are ever going to have.
Probably one of the best offensive teams in this era.
Probably one of the best.
Last decade plus, yeah.
So, but I do think that the numbers are closer than what people would imagine. So, obviously, that Jays team won 93 games. We won 94 games. That team scored 891 runs. I think this is the biggest difference on these stats. So that team, 2015, scored 891 runs. This team, this 2025 team, which may I remind everybody, finished fourth in the league in WRC plus. So you have a really good offense, 100%. This team scored 798 runs. That 2015 team scored 100 more runs than this team. That is absolutely bonkers. I thought that was crazy. But so 232 home runs for the 2015 team. What?
You know what's funny is that's including those 3 Rocky games we played this year.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. So 232 home runs for 2015, 191 home runs for 2025. I think that's a very good number. 269 average. In 2015, 265 in 2025, 340 OBP, 333 in 2025, 797 OPS, 760 OPS in 2025.
797 is crazy.
797 is ridiculous.
800 OPS over the course of a full season. That's
for your entire team. Yeah,
that's crazy.
And that is what led to a 115 OPS plus for that 2015 team, and then a 108 OPS plus for this 2025 team. So, offense damage-wise is not something that we necessarily attribute to this current Blue Jays team. But
really
those numbers suggest you're going to scrap out, three runs a game, 4 runs a game, 5 runs a game. And a stat that I think James brought up in our group chat earlier this week, he said, I don't know if it was James specifically, but somebody said this. When we scored 6 runs this year, we lost 1 game. When we scored 5 runs this year, we lost 4 games.
Yeah.
What was the 1 game?
I don't know.
I'm trying to think. Yeah.
I don't know. But I'm gonna do some research. That's the most positive stat I think I could say on this podcast. We score 5 runs against this Yankees team, we're probably winning the game.
Oh no, keep talking. I gotta find this. I'm determined now to find this damn game.
Find that 1 game. I'm trying to think. Okay.
The only reason why I said the lineup must be out is because I got a message saying
it is out.
Oh, okay.
Okay, well, Price is looking for that 1 game because I'm really curious in that too.
I'll look at it. I got the roster.
Okay,
I'll do the lineup first. It's fine. All right, so here we go, fellas. I mean, why don't we save that for the end? We'll kind of wrap it up with the lineup.
Okay.
Unless you guys want to talk about anything else.
Nope, that's
cool. That's cool.
Okay.
Okay, Robbie, you
So,
want to the game then, buddy?
yeah, do you have the game in your head?
That one game? No, I don't have it. I'm trying to think of it. I'm trying to dig it up.
Doesn't matter. All right, so fellas, here we go. Bat and lead off. The offensive player, George Springer.
Okay.
Batting second in right field, Nathan Lucas.
Okay.
And then obviously first base is Vladimir Guerrero Jr. And playing third, Addison Barger.
Can clean up.
Behind the dish, shocker, Alejandro Kirk. In center field, Dalton Varsho. And in left, Anthony Santander. Shortstop.
Wait, in left?
He's
playing
left.
Wow.
In left is Anthony Santander. At shortstop is Andres Jimenez. And at second base is Ernie Clement.
Wow.
Rounding out the 9 for game 1 of the ALDS. Oh, it feels so nice to say, boys.
That is interesting. So Springer DH, Santander left is interesting, but I don't think it makes all that much of a difference.
No.
Yeah. Both of them are probably not going to give you Gold Glove. Let's be honest. I'm not even close to Gold Glove defense in left field. And I think they want to keep Springer at his natural position, which has been DH this year, or offensive performer, like he'd like to attribute himself as. So I think that I get that part of it. I'm a little surprised to see Tony in the lineup in the field too. His first time in the field in months.
Yeah, Ernie Clement at the 9-hole, I love.
Oh yeah,
I'm cool with it. Yeah,
absolutely.
The rest of the lineup, I'm not surprised with at all. I guess like what would have been the other move? I guess maybe Loper Fido in left field, but I guess you want the power threat with Santander.
100% want the power threat, and I'll say it right now. There's still a lot of people obviously hating on Anthony Santander, but I'm not moving my stance. I've been a defender of his all season long. I'm shocked. I am absolutely shocked that this fan base has turned this tide on Anthony Santander when we literally acquired a guy who hit 44 home runs last year in Baltimore. I'm shocked that the Jays fan base will not just, hop on the train and hope for the best with this guy. I bet he hits a home run in these first 2 games.
Wow, that'd be something. I'll defend the Jays faithful in that regard. I think that perhaps there's not a lot of people that are hating on Anthony Santander overall. I think there's more so just skeptical of the fact that a guy who had missed the entire season and had been struggling before could come back at the nick of time and be like a legitimate contributor. And look, I think that's a reasonable skepticism. We haven't seen that happen yet, but if he hits a home run, then I think that at that point that would be valuable.
All right, fellas, you want to know the game? It was a grand slam from Junior Caminero. Of course, it's
against Tampa. Yes, that's the game. Yes.
Jeff Hoffman allowed the grand salami, got 1 out, allowed 4 hits, 5 runs in the 9th inning to lose 11-9 to the Tampa Bay Rays. At the end of June. Middle of May. May 13th.
So I think the only thing we haven't touched on is our starters, and we did touch on it earlier in the week for our first podcast after the regular season ended. We did touch on it then, but that was before we knew Chris Bassett and Max Scherzer would be left off the roster. So now that we know that, what's the order?
I think with you now having that really big wild card in Game 4, I think it's going to go the way I thought it was going to go with Gausman, Yasavage, Bieber, and then whatever mishmash you got going on in Game 4. That's my thought.
Me too. I'm with you 100%.
I think I'm with you. And I was one of the people that I didn't care to have Trey Savage start a home game, and it's not that I do care about having it now, but if I know I'm getting a Game 4 bullpen, then yes, I do want Game 1 in New York to be a guy that I trust inherently, and that's Shane Bieber.
Yep.
All right, boys. I think we're just about done.
We are. One last thing I'll say before we sign off is that we haven't talked about Vlad at all, but Vlad needs to have a good series.
Oh my God! Oh no, we have to touch on Vlad.
Okay,
we have to touch on Vlad.
Yeah,
that guy. There's not a single playoff series that this guy could have for a time to actually turn his postseason around. And to turn this season around, objectively, you sign a $500 million contract. I know it's not actually in play yet. It's until next year. But you sign a $500 million contract, and this is the year that you put up. You get outplayed by arguably Alejandro Kirk, George Springer, and Bo Bichette on your team. You need to have a big series, and it has to be this one. It has to be New York. You own New York. You own New York in New York. You own in New York in your own building. You have to have a good series. No Bo Bichette on this team, too. Yeah. There is no excuse for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. You have to turn your season around right now.
Yeah.
I'm just going to end, again, I'll send it over to Berto after this, but no Vladimir arise, okay?
Yeah.
Like none of that nonsense in this series. Other than that beautiful, I mean, it was beautiful. That double in KC and that wild one to clinch the postseason where it was an extra base hit. That is his only extra base hit since the Yankee series in the Bronx.
Yep.
That can't happen.
2 home runs in September. 2 home runs.
Yes, and one of those was like the freaking first week against the
both
Yankees.
of them. No, both of them were the first week.
Yes,
both of them. He hasn't hit a home run since September 5th, and then he also hit a home run on September 4th. They were back-to-back games in the first week of the month.
Well, it was the third against Cincy off day Monday, then Tuesday against the Yankees.
Oh, okay.
I remember like, the Cincy one was like crushed. It was like a line drive that like was hit so hard that just like somehow the trajectory was just so low, but he hit it so hard that it just carried over that left field wall in Cincy. But yeah, you need a big series from Vlad, like I mentioned. I think that probably gotta give him a little bit more credit for his season overall. I think you're right, September definitely, and we talked about it in our last podcast. September definitely muddied the waters a bit in terms of evaluating a year, but he had a great year prior to that moment. I mean, he had an OPS right around 900, and now it's time to go back to that form. And here's the big thing: the rest, I think, is a big key to it, because I think that you look at Vlad throughout his career, September has usually been his lowest month with OPS. I think a big reason why is because he typically tends to run out of gas a bit. Playing every day, that'll do that to you. Very few guys that play 162 games a year. I know that Vlad doesn't quite get there, but he plays just about every day.
161, 160,
Yeah, exactly. But now you have a 5-day rest in between series. I think that excuse kind of goes out the window a little bit. So I think that Vlad needs a big series, and especially with Bo Bichette, that's the key thing. You need to step up. Got $500 million, you need to show up in these games, especially against this team. Go Vlad, go Jays, let's get it done, boys. Just win, baby.
I specifically wore all black for this podcast. It's all business, and I want Vlad to show up in a black suit today. I need all business from this team.
Absolutely. Oh, man. I mean, look, one extra base hit since September the 7th. It's not good enough. However, this is what I'm going to say, and I mentioned it briefly in the last pod. Toronto fans love you when you're good, hate you when you're bad, obviously. However, we ride the wave. But we don't give a rat's freaking ass about 162 if he goes out in this series and hits 3 bombs and leads you to an ALDS victory. Yep. No one will remember this September if that's what you end up doing.
Yep.
And you could have been an MVP. Look at Aaron Judge. Everyone loves him in New York. But what was the talk after last playoff?
Yep.
Exactly. This is what matters.
Yeah.
This is where guys become men. This is where legacies are made. We mentioned last in the pod, David freaking Freese. If he didn't have that playoff run, would anybody know his name?
No,
they wouldn't.
Kike Hernandez wouldn't have a major league career if he didn't show up in the postseason. That guy is exclusively made for October every year in the Dodgers, and that's the only reason why he still has a job.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, fellas, I'm ready to go. We got about 4.5 hours till first pitch at Rogers Center. Boys, have a blast and be as loud as hell.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully,
the roof's open too, which is a bit controversial for these Jays fans. But I gotta say, Jays fans, we're inconsistent. We ask for the roof to be open all year long, and I get it. We want it closed for playoff baseball. I understand, but I also understand from the Rogers Center perspective that we're a bit confusing. But yes, regardless, the roof will be open game 1 and game 2. That's official already. So we're gonna have to be we'll have to be even more loud to make that building shake.
Cannot wait, boys. Like I said, be loud. Game 1, ALDS, in about 4.5 hours' time. Jays, Yankees, Gosman, Luis Heel. For the first time since 2016, this team is in the ALDS. First time ever in franchise history. We're playing the Yankees there. And for God's sakes,
get a win.
Boys.
Just win, baby.
And as always, go Jays.
Go Jays. Come on.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Blue Jays Center on YouTube, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.